All right, ready?
I think I'm ready.
1, 2, 3, and...
Okay, I'm already on the wrong note. Okay, I got it.
1, 2, 3, and... One thing that Terry and I love to do every morning is read the newspaper. And that's becoming less and less of a pleasure as we open up the words on a page. And they're actually depressing, filled with things that are sensational to sell papers sometimes, but mostly because that's really what's happening in the world. There's a lot of scary things happening. There's constantly devastating weather things, there's terrorism, there's the pandemic. And so when I wrote this song, I was thinking about, you know, they're just words on a page. All I have to do is get my coffee and shut the paper, they're gone. That's what a lot of our attitudes are. But what I wanted to say was that we're all connected, and you can shut that paper, but the darkness is still there, and we need to keep the light on. So let's reach out to our neighbors in our neighborhood. Let's be that friend. Let's not pretend that we're alone in the world, and try and make a difference. I want my music to be uplifting and just make people think about goodness and kindness and hope.
The backstory is Emily wanted me to have a CD to go on tour with as well. She said, you've got a bunch of music, you have to have a CD. So it was not a priority for me at all because I had no plan to have a CD. So we came into the studio here and we recorded 7 songs, and we had pre-recordings of 3 other songs. Watching Laura go through all the artistic process with her CD and coming up with a name and art and everything like that, I just sort of tongue-in-cheek decided I was just going to call it my greatest hits. So the CD's called Terry Bachynski Greatest Hits, because I thought this is the only CD I'll ever do in my life, so I might as well call it my greatest hits, and so that's what I did.
I'm just really blessed, and so is Terry, with songs that come to us somehow. We write them down, we record them, and then when we have enough, we don't want to lose them. We want our children and our children's children to be able to have a memory of our grandparents, our parents wrote music, and here it is captured in a recording. And so that's how I started this album. The chords, the music dictate what kind of a mood this song is going to be in, and then the words slowly come. And sometimes I think, I just feel like writing a sad song. And by the end of it, it's a joyful song because that's just what came out.
My process is completely different. Laura needs library silence in the house, like you must leave the property kind of thing. You know, it's kind of funny to think about, do you have a process, because it varies so much. Sometimes I'm in the car or I'm walking or whatever, or an idea just occurs to me. Like that's an idea, like that's a line that can be used in a chorus. And every once in a while I actually get a melody pop in my head and I say, okay, here's an idea for a melody, sounds like this, and I just kind of sing it into my phone, and then I've got that saved somewhere. So, but I don't need the isolation that Laura likes to write. If I get an idea, I can be sitting in the middle of a room of a crowd of people and just say, oh, I got an idea, and I'll just grab a guitar and I'll do it right there.
It's quite comical, I bet, if someone were to secretly record me, that sometimes I just sit there and just stare into space, and everything's happening in my head, and nothing's happening on a paper, nothing's happening on my phone. I'm just thinking, and then slowly I start writing. Well, it all started with Terry saying, once upon a time, you know what would be so fun for you and I? rent a convertible, and just drive across Canada. That's how it started. And then when I had the new album come out, he said, you know what? We should go on tour with the album and not use a convertible because we need all our musical instruments and trying to get across Canada with all this stuff. And so it just became, I think we can do this. Now, we didn't have an agent. It was just the two of us. So Terry planned the entire tour himself.
The whole point of doing the tour was to get her music out there. We've always did smaller tours, Alberta, a little bit in Alberta, Edmonton, Calgary, and then down in the Windsor area with Laura's other 2 CDs. And I just thought, man, it's a good time to do it, and we've got a new CD, why don't we see if we can put something together right across the country. The other goal was at least one show in every province.
So we just thought, okay, let's call musician friends, family, coffee shops, churches.
And said, this is what we're trying to do, this is the window of time we're trying to do it. And then some people said, we'd love to do it, but not in our house. Can you come to our church, or can you come to our community hall? And we said, sure, we'll do wherever you want.
And before we knew it, Terry had booked the whole thing. Or maybe it was even our son Darren that gave us this idea. You should film it, like make a documentary and give it to the CBC, and it can be like a love letter to Canada. And that was our thought when we started filming it.
Do you want to touch on a little bit about what happened with a lot of that footage that you took?
We had this GoPro, and we filmed everything. We put it up on the dashboard of the car. You could see where we're driving. Every time we left a province, we turned the GoPro on us in the car, and we would debrief. Like, here's been our experience.
We interviewed people all across Canada, and everywhere we went, we filmed with that GoPro. And then when we got home, we backed it up on our hard drive, and our hard drive corrupted. Many people told us, no problem. Today, people can get that off of it, no problem. But they actually couldn't.
And I recorded all of our concerts on this GoPro, downloaded it all onto a hard drive, and we lost it all. So the only footage we have is whatever I recorded on our phone and on the last memory card of the GoPro, which was still in the camera. So we do have snippets of some performances, and I did a lot of videos just on my phone, just holding my phone, but that's what we've got.
I was especially devastated that we lost all that footage, but we just decided that we would try and use our phone footage, because we did a lot of that too, and I love taking photos, so I had tons of photographs, and so here we are.
Are you at all worried that people will think this is like an elaborate hoax? That the footage is gone?
We also had, you know, a couple of UFO encounters that we recorded, and we had it all, and we were up in the ships, and and it's all on that that hard drive. Maybe that's why it's corrupt. The aliens corrupted it. Yeah, think about it, eh? Edmonton, first stop on the tour.
That was our initial idea, that we would have a house concert tour. And so, of course, the best house to start with was our house. And it was really, really fun because we had a full band. And
right,
yeah, and not only that, we had a full house. So our house became sort of an L shape, so that we had an audience here and an audience in our dining room, all facing into the piano.
We had about 70 people in the audience that night.
Yeah.
It was a great night. And
had some really good responses. We had our friend Jazz selling our merch because we had lots of CDs for sale, and we even had T-shirts for some of our band members to surprise them with the tour on the back of them.
Yeah, tour shirts for everybody.
Oh, Marla's.
Oh, yeah, St. Albert. Another house concert. Our good friends, Marla and Robert Gallant, and they opened their house to us. Actually, they had set up a
tent.
a big tent in their front yard. And we're going to do it outside in their yard. It was in the summer. And a huge storm came in.
And blew it down.
Blew the tent down, broke the tent rods, everything. There was this crumpled tent in the front yard when we got there. And she said, "You're doing it in the living room." So everything we
And
moved.
which we were really happy about because it was quite cold. And so we got to do the concert in the house and we were thrilled with that.
Hey folks, we're here at Cafe Lave. The show is going to start in about 20 minutes. It's a cloudy but cool summer evening here in Edmonton, and we're just going to get underway pretty quickly here. Looking forward to it. Take care.
We drive to where the river meets the moon, hand in hand and cheek to cheek. Pretty soon islands meet.
All right, we got to show you this. This is my favorite sign. Have a cock-a-doodle day. I stand here sometimes on Sunday mornings and greet everybody just standing by the sign and reading it.
Do not admit that.
Okay, so we're just leaving Haps. There it is, Haps. Best diner in Edmonton. We're here at least once a week. All right, hitting the road.
Rosebud was, like, we kind of considered it our first on-the-road concert, because St. Albert, of course, is just right next door to Edmonton. And so it's just about a 3-hour drive from here.
Longer, 4 hours actually when you make that turn. It's about 4, like closer to 4 I would say anyway.
Closer to 3 when I'm driving.
That's true.
All right. Anyway, we have a long, long friendship with the people in Rosebud. And we've done art shows there at their art gallery. We've done art shows. We had done a concert there before, just to do one. And anyway, we called them and they said, "Absolutely, come on back." So they have this. We actually did the show in the art gallery.
Well, here we are with the birthday boy. Happy birthday, Terry.
It's my birthday. We're here in Rosebud, Alberta. We had a show here last night, and there's a sandwich board.
In the winter cold, swears today I'm gone.
Downtown core.
We're really excited about this because this is our last Alberta show of this year, and then this week on Friday we head off to the East Coast, landing in Newfoundland. But we thought it'd be fun for you to see how beautiful Calgary is. We used to live here, and we were here about 20 years, and so it really feels quite dear to our hearts. And so here we are coming up to the downtown. We have to make this corner over here. And friends of ours, Jerry Fitch and her husband, they're going to host us for a house concert tonight. And hopefully I'll have a nice strong voice because last week I had laryngitis.
You had no voice last week.
Yeah, it was a large Chrysler van, and we took all the seats out. So the whole back area, except for our 2 seats, we would fill with our Bose sound system, my guitar, his bass, our 2 suitcases, our mattress in a suitcase because we both have pretty bad backs. So we would travel with this giant mattress in a suitcase. And just other things, like if we went shopping, because it was an opportunity to buy souvenirs or Christmas presents across Canada. So those have got to go in the back of the van too, and shoes and sometimes food. So it was pretty packed.
Dear old friends of ours, we've known them
We're not old.
but
No.
our friendship is we've known you for how
You're
long?
old.
Well, me, 25 years.
At least 25 years. This is Drew. Hey Drew.
Hi.
Drew's barbecuing some salmon for us right now, so I'm looking forward to that.
Me too.
I
We're
love salmon.
spoiled.
Yeah. And Jerry's working in the kitchen.
Usually just
Oh,
making dessert type
dessert?
things. That's all I do. Yep, I do dessert.
We have cake, butter tarts. You gotta love the cake and butter tarts. We've got it all set up in their living room. We've got the sound system all put together. We're ready to go. There it is. That's our setup for the night, and we're looking forward to seeing some old friends as well coming tonight that we're looking forward to from our connections with Young Life. Jerry and I are work together on the board of Young Life. Jerry's the current chairperson of the board, a gentle taskmaster. I think that's fair, yeah.
Well, you haven't quit, so I guess it's working.
Not that there hasn't been a campaign to encourage my resignation.
Well, I wasn't part of it.
And we had a really lovely concert there, and they let us stay with them too. We stayed at their place while we were there,
yeah.
right? Which was really.
I remember
really
they
generous.
just couldn't get off the idea of us going across Canada in a convertible.
Oh, yeah.
And they kept teasing me saying, "Are you going to let Terry buy that convertible?" And I'm like, "No." They're very nice folks.
Yet.
Yes, forever.
And thank you so much, very much. Thank you. Thanks all. Appreciate it. Hi, I'm sitting in Second Cup, having a cup of coffee. I'm going to meet a friend here for a visit this morning. I'm in Calgary. We had a show last night at a friend's house here in Calgary. Got another show tonight. So the good news is the shows keep on rolling. The bad news is Laura has a terrible cold, and her throat is just wreaking havoc on her voice right now. So say your prayer. We got to get through tonight's show, and hopefully she'll get through it. And then we got a few days of rest before our next show next weekend back here in Calgary.
Okay, so the Buellers, full house of people, they're all excited, and I started singing and I thought, my throat, it's getting really sore. Oh. So anyway, I barely made it through the concert. And
Adrenaline will carry you for about an
I
hour.
said to Terry after, I'm really worried about this. My throat is killing me. And then we had our third concert.
Then I said, well, suck it up. We have one more show tomorrow.
So in the day, we go over to our friends, Mary and Mike Lambert, one of my best friends in the whole world. We were sleeping over there too, and I had lost my voice.
Completely.
And Mary has asthma, so she said, here's my inhaler, just sit over here in the pool room and just breathe in the steam, and you're gonna be fine by the time the show is here. And as Terry mentioned, we had so many friends there, and they had all their friends there, and it was just the most supportive, wonderful audience.
But I'm just going to jump in here. When we realized that you were really sick, Mary said, we have to let everybody know that
Yeah,
you're
because
really
we're not
sick,
going to
'cause
have
who knows?
people coming in like, hey, guess what? I'm really sick.
Yeah. So they did, and about 15 or 20 people canceled,
Dropped out.
but then another 15 or 20 people showed up.
Yeah, and we told them clearly, I have a cold, I've lost my voice. If you don't feel comfortable with this, please don't come. They came. So Terry basically said, I've never sung my wife's songs before, ever. Luckily, she printed out the music on her phone for this tour, just in case. And she doesn't feel sick, she just doesn't have a voice. So she's gonna play the guitar for her own music. The audience was so respectful that we would still do the show and not cancel when they all made these plans. And as Terry was doing his best, which he did perfectly, to sing my music, and I'm just playing, I would look out at the crowd, and it's making me emotional, and they'd just be like, good for you, good for you. And just like looking at me like, you know, and I really did look at the crowd because I could do nothing else. And they were just, we want you to come back, and we want to hear it. We love your songs, we love what we heard, we would love to have you guys come back. And we got a standing ovation.
Yeah, we did.
It was fun.
But we did, I don't know, we did 4 or 5 of your songs, and okay, play it. Here are the words, so let me see if we can get through it.
Yeah.
We got through it. What could go wrong, right?
So here's something crazy. I just got a call from the car dealership in Newfoundland. It's 2:30 in the afternoon, September 19th. We are leaving at 6 a.m. in the morning. And they advised me that the Newfoundland Motor Registry requires us to have an Alberta transfer plate for the vehicle that we bought in Newfoundland. And the Alberta transfer plate is only good for 2 weeks, and we need it for 2 months. So I'm on my way to the motor vehicles branch to see if I can talk them into giving us an extension to get this vehicle back to Alberta. And if I can't, then I have to register the vehicle in every province we travel in and get a transfer plate to drive that vehicle across the country, registered in every province. And if I don't get the transfer plate in every province and I get pulled over or stopped for any reason, then I'm driving a vehicle that's not registered in the province, and it's basically you have no plate, and so you're driving an unregistered vehicle. So I got 2.5 hours before the motor vehicle branch closes to see if I can figure out what I'm going to do for a license plate for this vehicle. So now I have a vehicle in Newfoundland that I bought that the provincial government there won't put a plate on, and the provincial government here won't give me a document that lets me get it back here over the time we want to do it. So we're going to try and figure this out over the next little bit to see if we can find some way to license this vehicle so we can drive it across the country. Pretty crazy. So I had 3 possibilities. One, to convince Alberta to issue me 10 7-day in-transit permits in sequence so that I could just use one, throw it out, use the next one, throw it out. So we went back to Newfoundland Motor Vehicles, and they're going to issue a 1-year permit license for the vehicle. So there will be a plate on it, a Newfoundland plate. I'll be able to drive it across the country, and then once I get home here in Alberta, do the interprovincial inspection, get the Alberta plate on it, just ship the plate back to Newfoundland, and that's how easy it's going to be. Cross fingers, nothing else happens that goes wrong on this. So I'm not doing a single thing here, and the woman in Newfoundland, Sarah, she assured me that this is going to work. So here's hoping. Hey guys, here we are, a sunny summer day in early August. I'm getting ready for our tour. I'm building storage cases. There's one, all done. And there's the other one, sitting on top of the car with all the packing that's going to go inside of it, as you can see. 3 of them there on the counter for the sound equipment and the music equipment. At least this part of the stuff is ready to go, and we keep on preparing and getting ourselves ready for this big adventure. See you on the road. We're in Calgary doing this last show. The Lord Doesn't Have a Voice. Then 6 days later, we are in St. John's. We have a show in St. John's. So all this gear has to get in the crates I made and get to the airport and get in a cargo plane and get to St. John's. I put them in these crates that I've already made, and then I shrink wrap them all. Like they are packed.
They're ready to go.
Take them to the airport. And the first thing they say is, I said, I want to ship these to St. John's, Newfoundland. And they say, have you booked it? I went, no. Is that a problem? They go, no, that's fine. We just want to know if you've booked it. Okay, fine. And then, so they said, okay, take them in and they'll weigh them. And I said, I've weighed them. Here are their dimensions. Here's what they weigh. Here's all the information. Well, we have to confirm it. Fine, confirm it. And so they're doing that. And then a guy comes out and he says, we're going to have to open up all of these crates. And we had, I forget how many, I'm going to say 7 or 8 of these things, you know.
And stuffed to the gills with CDs.
And they're all
just
perfectly packed, so nothing's going to move, nothing's going to be damaged, anything like that. This guy opened every one up completely, like cut the shrink wrap,
single one.
opened them up, took every single thing out of every box, every CD down to the single CD, swabbed them, examined them. And as he's going through these individual CDs, after I'd been standing there for an hour and a half, I said, it's a box of CDs. Like, there's nothing else in there but CDs. And he said, we have to be sure. And it's like, this can't be real. And so then I go into the office. You inspect every box that comes through here like that? And they go, well, he does. And then they roll their eyes and go, what? And they said, if you got here 10 minutes earlier, he wouldn't be on shift yet, and the other guy just would have stamped them and let them go through.
We finally get over to Newfoundland, get a car, which we've talked about. And we've already looked up the time for Air Canada Cargo for when, you know, how long does it stay open to get our boxes? Because we have a show the next night.
The next night, we need the boxes.
And we pull up, and I see this guy pulling down the garage door, and I look at Terry like, uh-oh. And he said, we're closed.
Yeah, and I just said, you can't be. I mean, it says right here, you're open for another 5 minutes. And so I said, you're still open.
So we opened it up,
So we opened
and
it
we
up.
got all our gear, and it was by that much.
Yeah, and then we were off.
Yeah.
To the most spectacular sunset
That maybe we've ever
seen. It was unbelievable. That first sunset
Yeah.
in St. John's when we
Yeah,
arrived.
but can you believe that's how the thing started? Like, holy moly.
There is a reason that there is pain, that there is something to gain in each season, if we but look for the light. We must plunge into darkness to find the light, to stop depending on sight for the answers. Stars only come out at night. Don't
And then we were in Portugal Cove the next day.
Yeah.
And stayed with a good friend of mine that I've known,
Used to work with
used
Debbie.
to work with for years and years, Debbie and Ron, and they hosted us. We stayed with them. They had a nice house concert with all of their family and friends in their neighborhood.
And one funny thing about that venue was that, I don't know if you know any Newfoundlanders, but they like to party. And you know, they're used to Kaylee's, they're used to singing, like whatever those two in the other room singing, we want to be drinking.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so they are drinking and partying, and we're like, should we start the show? No, who cares? Get in here.
Oh yeah, we started like an hour late.
Yeah.
They didn't care. Come on, have another drink. Have something to eat.
All they wanted to do was party, and finally we said, we're
We're gonna do a show."
We're just gonna do the show, and they went, well, if you
Okay.
want to.
And they just wandered around, and
Yeah.
they'd sit down for a while, listen to a few songs, and they'd go get another drink, and then
Yeah.
somebody else would wander in. It was
So
very
it was
fun.
pretty comical, but it was still fun,
Yeah. Like we really explored the history of Canada while we were doing this, and
especially you.
Yeah, and I would take videos of myself talking about here's this historical point.
Like Terry would see a statue, and he'd just, you know, find out about the statue, and he would do these
Why is it
little
here? What's it
videos
about?
that. I love that. I thought I'm learning lots.
stars only come out.
My particular music is inspirational Christian based. So it's about hope, love, God, and I try and lift people up through my music.
Laura is the only person I know who, when she sings, she is smiling all the time. And you can look at anybody who's singing. I look at anybody, pro or otherwise, they are not smiling. And I don't know how many times people will come up. I'd like to say it happens every single time she sings, because that's what it feels like. You have the most beautiful smile. And she smiles the whole time she's singing. And it's just like, and I see it, and it's like, I actually don't know how your face goes like that while you're singing, but it just, she just does. In rehearsal, we work out, here's what I'm going to play, here's how it's going to go, and you know, and Laura always has feedback because her ear for music is amazing. What she hears, other instrumentation, you know, how the body of the song is filled out, she hears in her head. And so I'll play something, but she'll say, even though she doesn't play the bass, she'll know that's the right fit, or she'll tell me this is the kind of thing I want it to feel, and then I find it and say, oh, okay, well, how's this? And we go back and forth. And then once we land on it, I want to stick to it because that's what she wants to hear for her song. And then I can just kind of sit back and enjoy listening to her songs. And what I like when we have an audience is I like looking out and watching the audience respond to her music. Yeah.
Here we are in Cape Breton by this lighthouse that it took us all day to find.
We're in Lennox Passage Provincial Park. Never been to Cape Breton, so we had this plan to do our shows in Discoos, and then down we had shows in Halifax, a couple shows in Halifax, and then we were going to take a few days and go back to Cape Breton and just
Yeah.
hang out.
Yeah.
So we did all of that. So Discus was it was very fun. And as I said, the crowd was smaller than we wanted because they pushed us tonight. So we were
Yeah.
performing on a Sunday.
But it was fun, though.
But it was fun. It was great fun.
I think it was dinner, too.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all about the food. The Bombadils was a very special show.
Again, another house concert. And the Bombadils are friends of ours, amazing musicians themselves.
And they've been on every one of my albums, and they're going to be on my newest album, too. She told me, no pressure, but the entire room is going to be filled with musicians.
All from the Halifax Symphony.
Oh, yeah, from the symphony. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, there's a room full of serious musicians.
Yeah,
Like, okay.
yeah, but it was great.
It was great. So, and they played with us. And
Yeah, they just joined us.
Yeah.
They became part of SpiritLine that night. We had the extreme pleasure of taking some time for ourselves to go around the whole Cabot Trail, which is a very famous, beautiful trail in Inverness, all along the ocean cliffs, all through small towns. It was just stunning views, sunny, fall trees, just gorgeous. And we made a few stops, we had lunch there, and we ended up on the way home to our cabin, passing this little town called Bedeck. And so we went back and we said, you know what, we're gonna go back to that town of Bedeck. So, you know, we did have a good night's sleep, and then we went back to Bedeck for dinner. And that night we realized there was a theater company
local
there.
theater, yeah.
And I think it was called Dirty Laundry. And
yeah.
it was a comedy, and we enjoyed it so much. So we actually threw in a play, and we saw that, had a really good dinner, and it completely enjoyed the Cabot Trail.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful part of the country, absolutely spectacular.
And then
Anyway, we leave Cape Breton, we go back
to
through
Halifax.
Antigonish and back to Halifax because we have our second Halifax show, which was hosted by my cousin. Victor Bachynski and his wife Carmen. And they hosted it in the common room in the apartment building that they live in. So the residents of their apartment complex came to see that show.
Okay, so get this. Terry says, I'm gonna go golfing at Cabot Cliffs, which was just around the corner from this little cabin right on the shore,
Right on
the
the
cliff,
ocean.
right on the ocean cliffs. And so he leaves for the day, and he says, just pick me up. I drive him, and then he says, just pick me up at the end of the round. I said, sure. So I don't want to just sit in this little cabin all day by myself. I'm on the cliffs of the ocean. And at the time, I was walking with my cane, and so I thought, I'm going to go for a walk and look at the view of the ocean. So I found this beautiful path through these reeds and these grasses and flowers, and I walk through this path, and I get to the edge of the cliff.
So this is October too, so it's
Very cold,
windy.
very windy, but I see that there's this rickety old hand railing and a sandy path down to the beach. And I think, I would love to go to the beach and say that I stood by the ocean. And I thought, I'm gonna go for it. So, all by myself with my cane, I grab the railing and basically slide all the way down. It's pure sand, and I'm just sliding, and I get down to the beach, and I think, okay, I made it. But it's just the most amazing time, and then I think, oh my gosh, I've got to pick up Terry. Uh-oh, how am I gonna get up that cliff? Because I just slid all the way down, and I've got a cane. And I just thought, what am I gonna do? Terry's gonna wonder where the heck I am. And so I looked, and there were only 2 other people on the whole beach. I found out a father from Germany and his daughter. And I just went up to them and I said, I am so sorry, do you speak English? Oh, yeah, I speak English. And I said, as you can see, I'm mobility challenged and I have to get up that cliff. And I said, and I have to meet my husband. Would you just shadow me so that in case like I start slipping? And the man just grabbed my arm and he said, let's go, we'll get you up the cliff. And he pulled me up and I was holding the railing, holding the cane. He's pulling my arm and his daughter said, and I will push you up by your ass. And she pushed my bum and he pulled me and I was, whoop, I'm up at the top of the cliff. And then they went, you know, bye-bye. And I was just like, okay. And so then I was off to get you. And
Now I know how to get Laura up a hill.
yeah, it was meant to be that those people were there or I would still be there to this day.
Heading off to work as I bump through the crowd. Navy blue suit, the traffic is loud. Just another salmon swimming upstream. But I have a funny daydream that we are dancing, we lose track of time, that we are singing.
Well, we do just love road trips. So that was really, really easy part of doing this is we just enjoy it. We maybe start off going to a Timmy's, getting a coffee, talking. We would try and decompress after each show, film our reactions to, what did you think of that show? So that'd be fresh in our minds. And that's how we would leave every show. And we also both love touring different cities. And Terry knows I'm going to take 1 million pictures. So that was really fun too. He's very patient, just wherever you want to go. So we would just really check out the towns, take lots of pictures of the gorgeous, gorgeous colored leaves in Ontario and Quebec and the East Coast provinces. He makes me laugh every day of my life, so that's certainly easy.
I don't know if we discovered, but I think what we confirmed is we really like each other. And we like spending a lot of time together. Like we just enjoyed ourselves completely the entire time during this thing. And it was, every day was like kind of reliving what we just went through. About the show last night or the goofy things that happened.
It just really makes me feel blessed. It's an amazing thing to have a partner who is artistic like you and not just appreciates that you're artistic, but is also artistic. So I love his music, I love his voice, I love his stories, and it's just such a nice blend of these two people who love being together and love sharing our joy through our creations. And that's music, and it's our art, and it's our writing, and so yeah, it's a great blend.
The day rolls out before us, all our cares we've left far behind. We laugh with the years that have known us and the dreams that we've yet to find. And time passes so lightly since the day I took you, my wife, and the river.
This is one of the wild cards because we don't know anybody in PEI, and the mandate was one show in every
We had
province.
to, yeah.
So we found a bar in PEI that said, yeah, come on in. And we went.
So when we got there, it was upstairs, and I'm telling you, there were a lot of stairs, and we had
narrow, long staircase.
so much equipment, and I'm thinking, oh no, we have to get all this equipment up there. So,
which means I have to get all this equipment.
and they helped us from the bar. So
Yeah, that's right.
They got all the equipment. I started setting it up, and it was I think it was a Sunday night, and it was quiet. And we thought, and there were people in the back, but the guy said, you don't have to do the concert if you don't want to. And we're like, we want to.
We're doing
we
it.
need to get a concert in this province. So I said, if worst comes to worst, it's rehearsal for us.
There was a couple of couples who came in and out,
Yeah.
had a couple of beers.
And they
were
liked
gone.
our music, but it was a very, very quiet show.
Yeah.
And I think after church the next day, then we had the big market. And it was PEI, so everything was sort of PEI Spuds themed. And we had a lot of fun walking around.
Yep.
there and trying everything out.
I love it here. There's so many people here. So many things to eat and see and do and buy.
We're gonna go find some beef stew for lunch, and I bought chocolate chip cookies from a vendor for dessert. There we go. It's a great day. Gotta love Canada. Here we are in Fredericton. We're sitting in Dolan's Pub. It's 10 o'clock at night.
This is really late for us.
And we haven't been on yet. So we're going to be going on, I think, pretty soon, within the next half hour or something like that.
Yeah.
But, got a little bit of surprise for you. Not only are we in Dolan's Pub, but we have a special guest.
Oh, I did not see that.
You didn't see us there? We just came walking
What are you guys doing here? I'm just drinking alone.
all by yourself in the bar.
That's my thing.
That's
Thanks for buying me a beer, Dad.
How many people can say this? That they're not only on tour in their 60s, but their daughter is on tour with a band called Jom Common, and we met on tour with our daughter on tour. And so we talked her into...
Two bands crossed.
In the same city, and we talked her into doing an open mic with us at a bar, and we all performed
So all
that
three of
night.
us performed together. Emily,
Well, separately, but
yeah, separately.
that
Emily,
night.
Laura, and I all got to perform, but we all were on the same stage
Oh,
at
it
the
was
same
so
night in
fun,
Fredericton.
and we made
that
good
was,
connections.
That
and
was lots of fun.
That was a really cool thing to meet up with our daughter in Fredericton. So what a great memory
Yeah.
that was.
Okay, we are here at Heartland, and we're gonna go see the longest covered bridge on the planet. So says the sign, but I gotta show you the sign. This must be pretty significant. I've never seen a road sign that actually said potato chips, so it must be a pretty big deal. Probably a bigger deal than the bridge. That's what I'm thinking. Walking down the street in old Quebec City, the only walled city in North America, and it's like stepping back into Europe, town in Europe somewhere.
It looks exactly like almost any European city. It's
Yeah.
amazing that this is in Canada. That was the one place, the one province that we could not find a show because, surprise, surprise, they want you to sing in French. And so Terry said, Laura, I'm having a really rough time finding a show. And I said, you know what we'll do? I'll find a care home and we'll just count that as our show. It's still a live performance and we'll book a show if we can. And so I made tons of calls. I just randomly cold called all these care homes until I got this one English speaking person. And I said, just so you know, we don't sing in French. And is that a problem for you? And she said, absolutely not. Our residents would love for you to come. They love live music and we just think that's great. When we showed up at the door, they said, who are you? And we said, oh, well, I booked this, a month ago with somebody. And they said, well, we don't have it down, but who cares? Come on in. So
They didn't even know we were coming.
So we come in and we start singing, or we are about to start singing, and I'm just looking around at the room and I think, hey, that's a menorah over there. And on that tablecloth, that looks like some other Jewish symbols. And I thought, my music's Christian. And we're in a Jewish carol. So I'm quickly saying to Terry, I got to change the words to my songs. Like, there's no way I'm going to sing about Jesus. So every time I had the word Jesus in one of my songs, which isn't too many, but I had it, I changed it to the word love. We started singing and everybody started liking it. And the people started waking up and they're clapping with us and they're really getting into it, and more residents are coming in the room and they totally enjoyed it. And then they said, you know what? We're gonna take a break and we're gonna bring everybody cake and ice cream and then they'll keep singing. So they bring in dessert and everybody's having a party and everybody's awake. And
So we had
having
cake and
fun.
ice cream, then we kept on going.
And at the end of it, a Jewish man, you know, who was taking care of his mom, he comes up to us and he says, here's my card, love you guys, I want you to come and sing at the Jewish Center.
Next week. It's like, well, we're not going to be here next week, but thanks for the invitation.
You wouldn't like it. Anyway, they did really like the music, and just shows you the music is the universal language, and it was a really sweet show.
Yeah, it was. Mont Tremblant. Laura's behind me. Here we are, and with our umbrellas. Very windy, very cold, and rainy today. But we're going to walk around, see what we can find. We just had lunch. There's one of the streets. It's really a nice setting. Oh, my umbrella just went inside out on me. Fix that. Oh, man. I'm losing. It was just us. And so I'm the guy doing all the hauling of the heavy stuff, you know. And I can't recall exactly what happened, but I threw my back out between Quebec City and Montreal. And it was horrendously bad. And I'm calling chiropractors and doctors and massage therapists saying, I have got to get treatment on this back now because we're driving to Montreal and we have a show today. I got all this medical help lined up. We get to Montreal, and I think I went to a physiotherapist right away. And then we went and did the show, and then I went back, and then I went to a massage therapist, and then got through the night. Oh, I had to get drugs as well, so line up where to get drugs at a pharmacy, and then get through the night, and then we had another show the next day, and my back still wasn't right, so I had to go through the physiotherapist and the massage therapist and everything again to get through these shows. So we had to get through those two shows. And then we had 4 or 5 days off, and we went to Mont Blanc just to rest for 4 or 5 days, and I just recuperated because my back just was shot. So be careful how you lift things, I guess, is when you're an old guy and you have a bad back.
I know you, I see.
To back up a little bit, in our city, we're really dear friends with a group of people called Madonna House. And Madonna House is out of Ottawa area in a town called Combermere. They welcomed us into their homes. They welcomed us to come and join them for dinner, for breakfast, for mass. And we had a sold-out standing ovation concert.
Yeah, we had a big crowd
and
there.
We knew
Couple hundred.
a lot of the people that we'd had to say goodbye to in the past that had to go back to Ottawa, and they were there. And so it was like old home week.
Yeah.
Another Ottawa show was with our niece, Cara, and her husband is a minister, and he invited us to perform at his church and go to their fall dinner. I made the unfortunate choice of having a full lasagna dinner with Caesar salad right before I sang, which is never a good idea because you'll start burping. But it was on the actual altar of the church. That was one of the shows that particularly for my music, I had a lot of people emotional and asking for, they wanted to buy the music. They were very moved by the music. And we had the blessing of saying that we are going to give half the proceeds of the concert tickets to their church so it would help them get a new boiler.
Actually, we just gave it all to them.
Well, we did, but that's what we said that we were going to do. So that's what they expected, but then we just gave it all to them.
Go fix your boiler.
Summer air, kids are splashing without a care on Old Bell River Road.
It was so cute when we went to the Tilted Steeple in Ontario, and this was a sold-out regular coffee house that these folks did. And they had their music stands, and they're setting us up for sound check, and they said, "Oh, where's your music stands?" And we said, "Well, we don't need music stands." And they said, oh, they're so pro. They totally know their stuff by heart. And that was a funny comment because I thought, oh yeah, we're pro. We don't have music stands.
The Tilted Steeple Folk Club was a great experience. Our hosts were amazing. They welcomed us. We had a hotel booked, and they said, "You're not staying there. You're
That's
staying
the
at
story I was going to say. But before that, the show itself.
Really good.
Because they have a built-in audience, so that every month they're going to do this giant show. For us, like just to be able to come in and built-in show, we're ready to go. It was wonderful, and it was really, really well received. We loved it, but like Terry said, we had a hotel booked, and the host and hostess said, you know what? We want you to stay at our house. And we said, well, really? Because we don't have to. And they said, we want all the performers to stay at our house. And there was
There's another singer there.
Yeah,
another.
And so we said, are you sure? And they said, really, we would love it. So canceled our booking. And they have one of those 2-story, very skinny, lovely Ontario-type houses, brick houses, like right out of Lady and the Tramp.
Our hostess, she said, you know, into the night socializing, she says, do you have a son named Jared?
She said, I couldn't help noticing your name was Bachynski. That's a very unusual name.
And she said, do you have a son named Jared? And we went, yes, we do. And she had texted her daughter or something like that. Her daughter and our son went to university together.
Yeah.
They were in law school together.
Yeah, that's right.
And
Like,
so-
what are the odds of that?
What are the odds of that? Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
get in there.
We are in Niagara-on-the-Lake, and Laura and I finish lunch. I walk out the door and practically bump into Dave Ardell, whom we have known for 35 years. Dave and Carolyn. Dave and Carolyn.
We're
and
all
Rosanna.
originally from Calgary. That's where we met.
That's right.
And here we are in
Our
Ontario.
kids
in
were
Niagara
best
on the
friends
Lake.
when they were growing up, and it's like insane. It's so thrilling. Okay, say something nice about us, because we're right
Oh,
here.
I'm still thinking.
It's amazing.
At one of the care homes, we heard that there was a woman there who said that every single entertainer that came into the care home would be shouted at, "This is horrible," all through the show. And then she would leave halfway through. And they said, so just so you know, that will happen.
I'm just going to call the resident Gladys. I don't know what her name was. She said, Gladys only yelled horrible once and stayed for the entire show. So I thought that was a huge victory.
And we sang in that town, I think we sang at 2 care homes.
Yeah, that was one of the things. From Morrisburg to Windsor was a long stretch. So we said, let's fill something in here.
Yeah.
Do something in between. So that's how we ended up in Niagara-on-the-Lake.
Yeah.
Then from there, we ended up in the Windsor area.
Yeah, and we had a few shows there.
Hand in hand and cheek to cheek, pretty soon our lips meet, finding love on Old Bell River Road.
We're originally from the Windsor area, so it was very easy to get shows together because we have a lot of friends, a lot of family there, and it was easy to get people to host us. And in fact, Terry's best friend, Pete Rostovic, hosted us, and that was, for me, of the entire tour, that was my favorite show.
That was lots of fun. And that was great because your sisters were all singing with us.
Yep.
Your brother was playing his guitar.
Yep.
And Pete was playing piano and percussion with us.
Yeah, so we had a band,
Yeah.
and great harmonies. It was such a full sound, and it was so fun to have just a really appreciative audience, and they put on a beautiful spread for us of food and drink, and
Well, all 3 of those shows were in 3 homes,
yeah, the Zengaris.
which was our choice all along, to try to do house concerts as much as possible. All great settings.
Oh, another one was Bell River. Yeah.
Yeah. And every one of those were audiences full of friends.
Yeah.
And friends of friends, so it was great.
In the Bell River one, my high school friends came. So it was like a high school reunion for me. And so that was really fun too.
And Pete just kept on trying to get us to move to a larger venue.
Yeah, like let's
just go rent this space, because you can get 200 people in there. And
Yeah.
we don't want to do that. That's the very thing we don't want to do.
It's lunchtime. We got a show tonight, and we arrived here yesterday. What do you have to say for yourself? Perfect.
Ba boo boo beep beep ba ba boo.
We're putting her in the home tomorrow. That's the most intelligent she has sounded in many years. And not surprising, Dennis is responsible for his own lunch because, you know,
She can't get
because
it.
she talks like that. You just can't put her near heated things. We're playing Wizard. What else do you do on a day off? But on a rainy day is go to Mom and Dad's house and beat Dad at Wizard. So it's kind of one of our favorite pastimes, beating Dad at Wizard.
He cheats.
And the girls giggle.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it doesn't really matter if it's raining. We'll play Wizard if we're together.
It's just what we do. It's the best card game in the world.
We've had serious Halloween events in our house over the years.
Oh, yeah.
Like you do not miss Halloween.
No, it's my favorite. So I just assumed that my sister Pam would hook me up with a costume. I thought, I'm not going to drag a costume around with all our equipment and everything. So Pam will hook me up. So it's now Halloween. And she says, you know, I don't feel like going out, do you? She says, let's just stay home. And I said, yeah, we're pretty tired. Your time for your part of the
Except
story.
To honor my wife's high reverence for Halloween, I did have a Halloween costume. And I went down in Pam and Dave's basement. The costume was there. I came back upstairs in my Chewbacca onesie with my Black Panther mask. I was Black Chewbacca Panther that year. And I was the only one in a Halloween costume. And I just want to point out that I honored the day in honor of my wife. And I was the only one who, you know, understood what it was
When
supposed
he
to be
walked
happening.
in that kitchen with that full costume on and that Black Panther mask, I just screamed. I'm like, did you? I have been in that trunk a million times. Where was that costume?
I contacted my daughter Emily's partner Jeff, and he came into our house, got the costume, and shipped it to me to Pam and Dave's address. So it was there for us when we got there.
Happy Halloween from somebody who gets it. Enjoy your pizza, everybody.
I enjoyed surprising my bride along the way with tour merch, SpiritLine. I got baseball caps that said words on a page, and it had Canadian Tour 2019 to 2020. I got a couple of other shirts made. I got these SpiritLine mugs, customized license plate for the vehicle, a big customized like door magnet sign, and just these little surprises along the way. And every once in a while I'd pull one more out, say, here's your SpiritLine words on a page tour merch for the day, you know, so, and that was fun too.
We're in Mr. Lou, getting the van tuned up for the second half of Canada. So we're all finished now. We're just about to head out, and got some fresh oil, some fresh filters, tires, lights, everything's all checked out, so we're good to go.
On that north leg from Minnesota up to Winnipeg that winter arrived.
Oh.
And it came like that.
It went from beautiful fall, walking through the crisp leaves, to snow.
By the time we got to Winnipeg, Winnipeg must have had a foot or two of snow.
White out,
It
too.
was like, it was instant winter.
All right, Laura knows me all too well. She says, I sense a video coming on, and she's right. We've just parked, we're at the Forks Market in Winnipeg. And it's winter.
It's winter.
It's winter. We got snow everywhere. We just drove by the new Museum of Human Rights, which is a spectacular building. That stack over there, that's it right there. But it's a beautiful building. I'll have to get a shot of it later. But we're going to go into the Forks Market, see what we can see.
Yeah.
And we're down. They have antique or retired Canadian Pacific rail cars around here, so looks like kind of a funky place. We're just going to check it out.
it was like a restaurant, coffee house kind of place.
Yeah, yeah.
That did sort of like hosted musical acts like ours, so it was a really good venue for us.
I would describe that as the venue that liked your music the best.
My music was best suited for that.
Oh
kind
yeah,
of
and a
venue.
lot of people said, that song that you just sang, is that on your CD? And then people were buying your CDs. Yeah, it was really good. I liked that venue too. That was really fun. And then...
Oh, wait a minute. We also went to the casino in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Right? Because we stayed in a hotel that was, and we were looking out we got in our hotel room, we looked out the window, we go, casino.
We did.
So we wandered into the casino one night.
Did we win?
I'm sure not.
You can say it. It's on camera.
Yeah, we won. We won big. It covered
Paid for the whole tour.
Paid for the van, paid for the whole CD production, paid for the whole thing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
If you can't buy it at the co-op, you don't need it. All that life requires is there, believe it. No fancy dancy foo-foo frills, they got flannel shirts for your winter chills. If you can't buy it at the co-op, you don't need it.
Then on to Regina.
And that was another show with Madonna House folks. Because they have houses all over the world.
All over the world, yeah. So, and we felt that they were our go-to in Regina because we didn't know anybody in Regina, right? We said, well, I bet you we could do something.
So
we did 2 shows there.
Yeah, we did. We did a daytime show for the lunchtime people who, the soup kitchen. And then we did an evening show.
For their staff and volunteers.
Yeah, and one funny thing happened to me was that, one of the soup kitchen guys came up to me after the show and he asked me if I wanted to go outside and toke up with him. And I knew right then that I was officially cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we stayed in Lloyd, and Paradise Hill is not far outside of Lloyd. Very, very small town.
That was another super supportive town with in a community center that looked like a former or current church.
Yeah,
and
I think it is a current church. I think we did it in the church.
Yeah, so we were on the altar, I guess.
Yeah.
And again, it was a really cold night, but again, amazing hospitality that these people had this whole potluck for us and great concert. And
oh yeah, there was a whole big potluck meal and everything.
And we had tea and
I think with these small, I actually think there's a real place for, I'm going to say folk musicians, where they could travel around and go to these small towns, which are...
They love it.
They love it because I think
something to do.
They are ignored for the most part. We've seen so many small towns that are just these quiet, sleepy,
kind,
waning small towns, and the people who live there, you come and say, I'm gonna entertain you for a night. They go, we're in. Let's
and the whole town gets together and they come to the concert.
Great audience, very appreciative and very, very hospitable.
Nothing but corn.
Nothing but cornfields.
This place is so corny.
Nailed it. And we're done, and we're sitting in
Original Joe's
in Lloydminster having a celebratory late supper.
I can't believe that we did this adventure that we drove for 2 months across Canada.
It's been great. We're going to have something to eat. We're going to go to bed. We're going to relax, get up in the morning.
And go home.
Looking forward to it.
And we just sat there realizing, okay, we have just spent 2 full months on the road doing all of these shows, and now we're going home, and it was just like, I can't believe we did that.
I can't believe we did it.
It was amazing.
So we are in the car, and we have just left Edmonton about an hour ago. And we are on our way to British Columbia, to Vancouver, for our annual spring visit with our kids and our grandchildren. And we had 6 shows booked, and we've canceled them all because of the coronavirus.
We also had a much larger van with all of our sound equipment and instruments in it, which now we don't need, so we're taking a smaller vehicle.
We didn't bring any of our gear at all for the.
Just my guitar.
Yeah, just your guitar. So what we're hoping to do, and I think we'll be able to do this, is we're going to find a way to do a small acoustic show for our kids and our grandchildren. And we'll just play a few songs for them, and we're going to fulfill our mandate to do at least one SpiritLine show in every province of the country. So our cross-Canada tour will be complete, but the British Columbia finish is not what we thought it was going to be because of this amazing worldwide pandemic of the coronavirus.
Of course, it was the pandemic. And so our last seven shows were canceled.
6 in BC and then the last one in Rosebud. Even though our last concert was supposed to be in Rosebud, that was how the tour was structured, the traveling part of the tour. Finish where you started in Rosebud. And we did a live stream fundraiser for Rosebud, which was really successful for them. It was a really good fundraiser.
Oh, $20,000 I think they made.
$20,000, something like that they made on, in the 1 hour that we were live streaming, which was really nice.
Yeah.
It sort of felt unfinished.
Anticlimactic.
Right?
We missed it too because you know your music by heart by that point so well, and you're so used to performing, and now it's just done.
Yeah, so I think we both wanted sort of a bookend, a live performance bookend to this whole tour, and so we decided to do a concert on our front porch.
So we invited our friends and our neighbors, and we said, here's the deal. It's free. Bring your own lawn chair, bring your own snacks, and bring a donation if you want. And so they came. And we did our music, and it was so successful that people said, well, you can't just do one concert. Like, are you going to do one next month?
And so we said, I guess we are. And then we started inviting other artists because I said to Laura, okay, I'm happy to do this once a month as long as we don't have to do all the music. And so it has become a summer front porch concert series. We do it the last Sunday of every month. Everyone now knows 7 o'clock.
June, July, August, yeah.
7 o'clock, last Sunday of the month.
It's just an hour.
We'll be here. Laura and I do a few songs to open the night, then we always invite another guest artist, and Edmonton is full of really talented musicians.
And that's why the audience is bringing donations, because we give it to the performers, and it's been very successful for the performer who basically has 45 or a half an hour to 45 minutes, and some of them have taken home $600.
And we love supporting local artists. So it's been a really good thing, and already we have artists now saying, when can I book onto your stage?
Yeah, people are calling us now and saying, could I be one of your performers?
And so you can see how it'd be easy to do a lot more, do any more than that.
No.
One a month is just right for the summer, and it's been, and as long as I can set up that stage, we'll probably keep on doing it.
Yeah, super fun. So yeah, we're still performing. Because of this tour, you started the Front Porch Concert Series. We did it for 3 years in a row so far. We're already booked for all of the shows next
booked
year.
For next year already.
And what a blessing it's all been.
Yeah, it's been a great adventure.
Yeah. I don't think we met an unkind person our entire trip. It was just the most amazing experience to meet people that welcomed us into their homes, welcomed us into their pubs, welcomed us into their churches, and on and on and on. We played at so many different venues. It was funny even to play at a bar, because really my music is inspirational and Terry's is folk, and they might be used to really loud music or whatever, but they didn't care. They're like, music, come on in. I think really, truly the highlight of the whole thing for me was seeing all of Canada, because we've seen parts of it, and here we are Canadian, and how many people can actually say, I've seen every single province in Canada? So that was delightful. It was delightful to be with my husband, and just how easy it was to be together and laugh every single day. Sharing our music was really just the bonus.
You know, we've just had such a great time together. We've been together over 40 years, dating and married. And this was just something, you know, we always want to do, a cross-Canada trip. And it's just great to say, you know, to have a partner who says, let's do this big adventure, I'm in. And to have that adventurous spirit shared between us and enjoyed was just a complete joy.
You know, I know originally it started off because we just wanted to have some fun and see Canada. But then, you know, when you start getting reactions of people and they're crying and they're saying, that song really touched my heart. You have no idea, I just lost my daughter to cancer, and you've made me feel something, that there is a God, that someone is caring about me, etc., etc. Or in Terry's case, writing a song about, you know, veterans and people who have lost people in the war. Like, many of our songs, I'm happy to say, affected people in a positive way, and I think we brought some goodness into the world in our little way.
Just words on a page, just words on a page. The light has gone out. We stare into space, they continue to shout, and the stories told takes hold. The world has a thirst for bloodshed and tears. We read of the worst, and it plays on our fears.